Hello.
Hi.
We needed to escape the kids to do a video, so we're like literally in my car in a Costco parking lot. So, and I'm gonna have to hold my phone the whole time. We're super classy.
Of course we're classy. Everywhere we go, we class it up.
We have like a lot of asks at this point, which is sort of amazing. Some of them predate when I said we'd be doing videos, so sorry if you guys wanted it like written. Because you're not getting it that way.
Alright, I guess I'll just start.
I sent them to her so we can, yeah.
Let's see. Alright, an anonymous one. I was rereading FICON last week because Providence is coming and I wanted to remember how this all started. And I realized something. You guys have improved tremendously as writers. Yes, FICON was great, but you can still see the improvement in both of your fics since then. I love you both, even though I have never met you. And I hope that you'll continue to give us more amazing stories in the future.
Thank you.
That's amazing. Thank you.
I always want to be I want the thing I'm writing now to be better than the last thing I wrote. That's
absolutely.
I think that's always the goal.
Well, yeah, with anything that you write, you always want that evolution. Plus, you learn so much with every new thing, especially when we're working together on stuff. Because there's always something new.
God, that's true.
And the stuff that we have been doing on the side, when we collab again, it always changes so much, and we both learn so much. It's amazing. God, it's been a couple years, right? That's insane.
It's a fucking long time, man.
Damn.
You know.
Jesus.
It's been more than 3 years.
That is ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
Since we started FICON, yeah.
Oh my God. Remember when we thought, every time I always think that.
I think I've been doing this longer than I've ever had any single job.
Are you serious?
Yeah. I start hating jobs real fast. It doesn't go well. Like the first year is all nervous and the second year is like, I want to leave now.
Well, technically, this is your job.
Sort of.
Technically.
We have a 4-part Ask from Cherry Chapstick. Sarah.
Yes. Okay, so your cue about Providence, aside from the overall story, I'm just really looking forward to see Will and Amelia actually starting to blend their lives together. Amelia and Beth bonding, Beth finding out that Will is dating Amelia. I've been actually daydreaming of the conversation where Amelia tells Will she didn't marry Thad.
Okay, pausing you there. So some of the Beth stuff is gonna have to happen in one-shots because it will. I think you'll get all that eventually, one way or another. And
well, because it covers a lot of time.
Right. Oh, and the part where Amelia tells Will that she never married Thad, that's written.
It is, yep.
It's good. It's exactly what it had to be.
Yes, it's fantastic. Let's see. Seeing Jules going from almost loathing her to changing her opinion about Amelia.
Yeah.
Will and Alex may be getting into an argument after something on the job triggers Will. Alright, let's continue that he's fine, or whatever automatic response comes out afterwards, and Alex snaps because he can't watch his best friend doing this to himself any longer. Yeah, Alex is such a good friend.
Alex is a good dude.
Oliver and Will having a heart-to-heart about his PTSD.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll get there. I mean, that's... I haven't written that yet. But obviously, a lot of the story is going to have to be Will recognizing and overcoming some of his mental health challenges. Well, overcoming's the wrong word. Learning to cope with them in a healthy way.
And accepting that it's not a quick, easy fix. There is no quick, easy fix for this. There never will be.
And a part of that has to be him talking to Oliver and Felicity and being honest with himself. Even if he doesn't go into detail with things with them, he needs to be able to recognize what's going on. So Oliver has to be a part of that. Felicity has to be a part of that. And obviously Amelia has to be a big part of that. I think I don't know how much Jules is going to find out, but she might beat the shit out of Will. You fucker.
Well, yeah, pull your head out of your ass.
Yeah.
That's Will's thing, is he doesn't want to bother. He doesn't want to put his problems.
A burden.
He doesn't, exactly. He thinks he can handle it.
Because that's always been Will.
But that's so hard, just asking for help and realizing that you do need it and it's okay to ask for it.
Yeah.
I can absolutely relate. Will meeting Amelia's mom and her seeing how blindingly in love they both are.
Okay, that's gonna be like, I don't know, maybe it'll be an eventual one-shot. I don't have anything planned with Leo right now.
There's just so much that happens in this story.
It covers a year.
It's a long time, and it's a lot of stuff isn't going to be covered just because it's little stuff.
There's time jumps.
There's time jumps, yeah.
Which I don't typically do, but...
No. But it's good. It's good.
Well, but I go from here's what happened on Tuesday to 4 months later.
No big deal.
It's fine. It'll work, I promise.
I'm desperate to know how Amelia will find out about Team Arrow, and eventually when Will tells her about it.
You're assuming Will tells her.
Yeah.
Maybe he doesn't. Maybe somebody else does. Maybe she finds out another way.
I'd love it if Amelia was the one to initiate intimacy between them. If she'd be the one to... Going the wrong way. Initiate the first kiss, I'd squeal my head off.
Prepare to squeal. I'm gonna give you that.
Will crashing how broken he feels, and him can't be what she wants, and Amelia's reassuring him that being with him, no matter what, is exactly where she wants to be.
You're gonna be happy with the story, man.
I mean, you're hitting everything because
Just about.
It's all there. We're just gonna get
all the big things that you conceivably could know at this point. You're spot on, I think.
Yes, agreed. Also sex. All the sex.
6 sex scenes are planned. 2 are already written. And I have 1 I'm writing later this week,
and there's no holding back on these. They are full blown smutty porn deliciousness.
Yeah, I did pretty well with those first 2.
You did. They seriously need to screw each other's brains out like yesterday. Agreed.
That is true.
I don't know, these are just some of the things I've been thinking about, but whatever happens, I'm just excited we're getting to read about them. I'm more than positive you'll break my heart with all the painful conversations that need to happen and piece it all together with the sheer love that oozes out of
That's all I want in life.
And she puts on armor and says, I'm ready. Oh, there you are.
I love it. Thank you. You're going to be happy.
You're going to be so happy.
I think you will be exceptionally happy. Like, I think everyone's going to, not everyone, because you can't make everyone happy, but...
No, but all the stuff that has been building up for Will and Amelia.
Right.
Not just necessarily how much time it is, but the emotional aspect of it.
If you're already invested in their story, you're going to be happy with how it plays out.
Yes.
And surprised at parts. For sure. Unless you were one of the handful of people who got early access to chapter 1 because they were amazing and donated for more than $50 to charity for my birthday. There were, I think, 3 people who got that. And I loved all of their reactions. It was great. And then I have a small handful of people who are kind of cheerleaders and not betas, but like in the moment of here's my immediate reaction to this, flesh this out. Yeah. So there's a handful there. And they're the ones who've caught up, because some of them haven't, and the betas, have been pretty happy so far. So even though it's very rough, like there's parts that...
This is a much more involved story than Tempest was by a long shot, and it's because so much more is happening, and there's a lot more involvement from both both of the main characters. So there's their romance, but also their individual stories.
And the time frame too. So there's more going on in the background, because you guys aren't just invested in Will and Amelia. You want to know what's going on with Jules and Alex and Ellie and Nate and everybody else. And they're not at the forefront, but this covers a year, and we've just come off of spending, God, how long have I been doing one-shots after Tempest? Like, for 8 months of, here's what happened on February 19th of, literally, I think that's one of them, February 19th, 2040. Like, so it is an adjustment to knowing every detail of everyone's lives, to Will and Amelia are the center, but you're also... I think that's why there's going to have to be a lot of one-shots, which I had not really been anticipating, but here we go, whatever.
I'm surprised you didn't anticipate
I'm doing this for the rest of my life. I think that's pretty clear by now.
Well, and plus there's the secondary plot, which is going on too.
The external plot.
I'm sorry, whatever.
It ties back, I'll say it ties back into Tempest to a degree, and it will tie forward into Schism, for sure. Okay. I know, like it's really...
Oh God, I can see why you're doing that. Okay.
So yeah, it'll tie loosely the plots together for, I think, probably all of them. I think Nate's story to the least degree, but maybe a little.
Well, Nate's doesn't involve the vigilante parts as strictly.
I think it can still tie back.
Well, it's going to tie back.
Anyhow, we're not going to talk too much about that right now. We might in a little bit. This was another one back when I asked, what do you guys want to see in Providence? Because it was election night and I needed something to distract me. This Anon said, I love your writing and your characters. I'm sure I'll love Providence too. I want angst and smut and fluff. You will get all three.
Yep.
I want Amelia and Will flirting. Hell yeah. I'm waiting for their first kiss and their first time. I've written both. I want them fighting for each other. You'll get that. You'll also get them fighting with each other.
A lot of fighting. Oh, I love it. It's so good.
I'm waiting for Amelia scenes with the queens. I need to write that today and tomorrow. There's a lot of scenes.
There's a lot of scenes. With her and the queens?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
They're really more integral to this story than I think they were mostly for Tempest.
Yes. They truly are.
You get,
yeah. She has a place.
Most of the chapters that do not... Most of the chapters that don't have smut have at least one or two queens in it, other than Will.
Yeah.
If not all of them.
No,
the one with...
No.
And then Amelia's friend Maggie pops up a few times. Overall, I'm just waiting for Providence. I appreciate that. And I want it to be done.
And it will be amazing.
We're about 70,000 words into it at this point. So we're about a third of the way word count-wise, I think.
Well, and that's just the first draft, too.
Of the first draft. I'm running a little bit behind where I wanted to be, but I have no regrets because Libby came to visit me and then Bree came to visit me, and it's worth it. But I still think I can be done with it by the end of the year.
I think you could.
Yeah, it means like writing 4,000 words a day, but whatever. We'll work it out.
That's a lot. Yeah,
That's a lot of fucking words, man.
That's a shit ton of words. It's a lot of words. I think it's possible.
I've always read this person's name as Please Moi, and I don't know if it's supposed to be PLS-MOI.
Yeah.
Anyhow, asked, I think he said we'll see Julix tell Elicity and the gang about her pregnancy, but what about Martina? Will she be there when they tell them? Also, will we see Sylvia with Martina? We've seen her with Elicity, and I'd love to see her with Martina telling stories of her papa. Maybe. That's kind of far off.
It's really far off.
At this point, we're looking at overarching story things with Schism and Providence, and also Book Queen, which we're sort of tentatively calling Restraint.
I still really like that.
I like Restraint.
I like
And I
Restraint.
think it's appropriate. We wanted to stick with one-word titles because it's kind of been a thing.
Yeah.
So really what encapsulates it. If you're not already asking yourself why I picked the name Providence for that story, you might want to start asking yourself that. Lots of questions about Schism, and mostly they've been correct with theories.
Yes, that's true.
I mean, it's pretty clear.
But
on
you
that
haven't
one.
been really, there's been no hiding what goes on in that one.
Right.
It's more of the journey with that.
Well, I mean, Schisms
sure.
are civil war, really.
And it's going to be so much better. So much better.
Than what Arrow did.
Arrow didn't even do it.
Like, there's
They didn't do it.
authentic reasons for a split down the middle and deeply invested emotional things going on.
Well, that's stuff that's been building up over many, many years.
And you will
it's
see
not just
pieces
out
of
of the
it.
blue.
Right.
And it makes sense.
There
And
are
it has to
pieces
happen.
of it. Even today's chapter, there were pieces of it.
Yep. Oh, yeah. Yes, definitely. Yeah. It's there.
Especially with that one line. Anyhow, we'll talk about that later. I am in love with this next ask, which was anonymous, because I'm like, yes, you caught this. Is it just me, or is Will's crappy sofa a pretty good metaphor for his issues? It is, and that was intentional from way early on. I love my fucking metaphors. If I can build imagery off of something, I'm going to be like, Yeah.
Yep,
It's like the groove in Amelia's mom's table that she was wearing down with her finger on the same path forever. I love that shit. That's my bread and butter. It's other than dialogue, that's all I do, really. But yeah, as you said, it works fine when Jules first used it, but as soon as flaws were pointed out there, it became really unpleasant. It also takes a long time and the right person to get a new sofa, showing that he's going to have to work a lot and accept help to get a better frame of mind. Yep. We've actually talked about, at the end of Providence, him and Amelia getting a damn new sofa. Like, I will beat you over the head with my metaphors if I can. Except the last scene isn't really, I don't know if it works with that. But
that's one shot.
Maybe they'll mention it, that they got a new sofa. Yeah. Or it's getting delivered that day or something. I don't know.
It's so true. It's so true.
It is. So we have an ask from Little Like and Love, who said, I thought I submitted an ask about this, but it might have gotten lost somewhere. It did. I never got it before this. Is Ellie's relationship with Roy closer than that of the other kids because of the foundation? I assume that Roy would still keep a very active role to honor Thea's memory, and that Ellie, of course, loves him as her uncle and teammate, but maybe there's something stronger there because of the work that they do. That's a good question. We will see a little bit more about what Roy's been up to in a one-shot next month at Alex's birthday party. And some of it does talk about the foundation. I do think that he and Ellie are a little bit closer. And also Ellie and Eric, too, because of that bond over the foundation.
For sure.
Everyone at times has something to do with the foundation. There's a scene in Providence where it's mentioned that Will is teaching a CPR class on his day off at the foundation. I think it was it like a babysitting certificate thing? Like, there was a joke in my head about like all these teenage girls suddenly being certified in CPR. I don't think I wrote it, but that was in my brain. I was like, damn, I'd take that class.
Yes, I would take that multiple times.
So I'm so sorry, I can't seem to get this.
I can't remember this.
Can we get some more hands-on experience?
Please.
CPR isn't sexy. It's necessary and it's important and it's a good life skill to have.
Very important life skill.
But I'm still gonna joke about it because I want to.
Especially if Will's the one teaching this class.
And you see his arms and the muscles doing the work. Anyhow,
I know.
We got wildly off track. This was an ask about Roy. But yeah, Roy, I would say Roy and Ellie are pretty close. And Roy and Jules, too. They've always been very similar in some ways, with their snark, especially. And both of them have experienced loss in a similar way, too. So they can relate over that. It's kind of horrible, but it does put them a little closer. And you'll see that again on Alex's birthday party, one shot, which I'm pretty sure is next month. It might be later this month. I don't know how many weeks away it is. I'm not looking it up right now. It's not that far off. We have a question about Yvette, and it made me really happy because I love my Yvette, and you guys will too, because I've decided that. Can you answer how Oliver and Felicity feel about Yvette, and does Nate date between Yvette and Penny? So here's the thing. How are you going to define date?
Yes.
Does he have a girlfriend between Yvette and Penny?
No.
No.
Is he alone the entire time? No.
Right.
He's not at all.
No. There's some sexual activity in there.
But it's not
emotional.
Yeah, it's not a relationship.
That fucks him up. Like, she is the best, which is part of why it really fucking hurts when that ends.
Yeah.
She's an awesome person.
And they were compatible in so many ways. I'm talking in like their past tense already. They are compatible.
They are. There's a lot of ways they don't work too, and I think you'll see those grow as we cover their relationship. Which really isn't gonna. There's what, like 6 one-shots with them?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Well,
yeah. As far as how Oliver and Felicity feel about her, I think Oliver is concerned because he knows that Yvette is someone who's not gonna stay here.
You know
Oh,
that feeling?
firemen.
Where?
Hold on.
Take your shirts off. They're in an emergency. Don't do it now.
Damn.
Oh my gosh, did I tell you one time when I was walking down the street at work and I was like, take your shirts off when guys were driving? I did a twirl over my head and one of them saw me and smiled at me and I almost died.
Nice.
He had a gorgeous smile.
They're like right in our parking lot.
I feel like they're going to the store.
Maybe.
Something happened there. Is it just them?
Yeah. I mean, I saw a cop, but... Alright, Hillsborough Fire and Rescue. You do your jobs, guys.
And then once you're done, come out and
Let us stare.
come over here.
We got really sidetracked on that. But there were
They're
firemen.
firemen!
So that's important. I should say firefighters. Some of them could be some lovely ladies. I don't know.
True. Yeah, where are they going?
There's probably an emergency entrance off the back if they need to get directly to someone.
Looks like there's something going on over there.
Yeah. Okay. What was I saying? Oh,
Oliver
Oliver knows that Yvette isn't going to stay in Starling. She's someone who has big eyes for the world. She wants to see everything and experience everything, and she's never going to be someone who puts down roots, really.
Mm-hmm.
And Nate is so rooted and grounded. Like, he's not a guy who that is not going to work long term. So Oliver likes Yvette, and he would like her even for Nate if he didn't know for sure that Yvette was eventually going to crush his heart.
Yeah.
Felicity has a little bit harder time with it, mostly because she's not ready to see her baby, like, with his hand on a girl's butt, making out with her on the sofa. Like, that doesn't go over well.
No.
There's a scene where she's like, oh my God, I can't unsee that, and like turns around and stares at the ceiling. Because they're like lying on top of each other on the sofa making out when they didn't realize anyone else was home. And I'm totally scratching my boobs, sorry.
Well, and it's Nate. It's Nate.
It's little Nate. It's her baby.
Which is so funny that I say that considering what we know.
I know, but
He beats
Felicity
them.
doesn't know.
I know, that's true. But I understand why she says that and how she feels.
I hear more sirens.
It's
There's an ambulance.
It's a whole ordeal, something going down there.
Yeah. Okay, next ask was from 10 years before the flood. Hi, life got in the way this Monday and I didn't leave a comment, but I did adore the chapter. This is off of last Monday's. For the Q&A, you said in an ask that Emilium do usually celebrate Christmas with Sexy Times, but not their first year together. Care to give a hint as to why this is? They're sort of barely on speaking terms at that point.
Mm-hmm.
I will not explain why. Right?
Yeah, don't explain
What
why.
can I say about
You'll
that?
find out why.
You'll find out
Very
why
fast.
by like chapter 2 of
Yeah.
Providence. Providence starts in September of 2040, and after September of 2040, there's like a 5-month jump into February. So you'll get a picture pretty quickly of why things are the way they are.
Yes. Very, very quickly. Like you'll even get a hint right at the end of
Chapter
chapter
1.
1.
There's, if you read it correctly, at the end of chapter 1. Okay, second part to this question. In Tempest, Julix did the healthy relationship first, sex after thing. Did they really?
What's your definition of sex?
And I've got it into my head that Amelia might go the opposite way in Providence. Am I close or not? And 3, seeing as Providence spans a longer time frame, do we get to see Amelia actually interacting with the rest of the family in Providence? Hell yeah, she interacts with the family a lot.
A lot.
As far as the sex goes, the first... Right now we're planning 28 chapters, and the first sex scene is in chapter 8.
Is it 8?
I think. So, I mean, based on that and the knowledge that they're not on speaking terms as of chapter 2, I think that gives you kind of an idea
of how it
Yeah.
goes between them, how it progresses.
And their first time together is no, is this sex? It depends on your definition. It's,
No, it's
tab A into slot B. It's pretty...
That's one way to describe it.
It's,
Please insert.
pretty great. I am a fan of that scene. I'm an even bigger fan of their morning after.
Oh, their morning after
Which
is
is
good.
hot.
Yeah, I like their morning after. But no, they definitely...
But also, I mean, is it a healthy relationship at that point? Will's not healthy, so it kind of can't be.
Well, there's so much that they have to cover and so much that they have to address.
Yeah.
Not even together when they're with each other, but also in themselves.
Both of them.
So it's not easy right off the bat. Just because they love each other and they want each other does not make a relationship.
Right.
And so that's part of their journey in Providence.
It's a big part.
It's a huge part.
Right.
It's an exciting part. It's an angsty part.
God,
The
they
angst
hurt.
is so good.
The next question was in a nod, and we both really laughed at this. I love Janice's writing, but is Bree planning on writing in this verse soon at all? I love both of you and have no preference. I just like to know things. So, what are we?
Oh, a dog.
What?
Sorry, the dog's
Dogs and firefighters. We're in a great parking lot. With Tempest, I did the entire first draft, and then Bree went through and fleshed it out more. You're going to be fleshing out more and editing more in Providence than you did in Tempest.
Yes.
By a lot.
Well, and that's by death. That's just because of the story itself as
Right.
well. Because Tempest was very linear. It was easier.
Yeah, and it is closer to co-writing, although not to the same degree we did with FICON.
No, it's not that.
Because we're not going back and forth chapter by chapter with first draft. The first draft is all just me. But I would still say I think the end product is going to be very much both of ours.
I would agree. I think once we get through with all the drafts, there's going to be a lot of back and forth because once everything's down, it's going to be a lot easier to work with it and figure out what exactly we want to do. Because there's some stuff in there that we talked about cutting already, and then there's other stuff we want to flesh out because there's could be, who knows? Because stuff's that's written down, we're going to end up cutting it because it comes up later or something going on. So that's the magic of drafts.
And then with Schism, I'm going to rely very heavily on Brie on that one, whether she knows it or not. There's a lot of action in Schism, and that is...
And it's more ensemble. There's a lot more character involvement in Schism.
I want to pass out. Please, firemen, come here. I need help.
The story, it's ensemble. It's going to be huge. And so much happens.
It's going to be long.
It is. It's...
Yeah. Every major character has some kind of a journey in Schism.
Yes.
All of them. Even some of the ones you might not consider a main character because they're not a queen. You've still got Amelia. You've still got Alex. You've got Eric. You almost certainly have Roy, although I haven't figured out how the fuck he works in this yet. Definitely Oliver and especially Felicity. You're going to have Moira pop up and have moments there. She also pops up in Providence. You're going to have Sarah for sure.